edition of the Contractor's Secret Weapon weekly podcast with your hosts, Dave Negri. This program is dedicated to helping contractors, remodelers, painters, roofers, roof cleaners, and business owners in the construction industry gain an unfair advantage over the competition. This program supplies you with information that the competition doesn't even know exists. This session brought to you by ContractorsSecretWeapon.com.
Before we get into the conversation, I just want to do a shout out to our sponsors who help promote Contractor's Secret Weapon and just some of the things that they have in store for you, our listeners. Hey, is your phone ringing enough? Do you want it to ring more with highly motivated and qualified buyers that contact you, the contractor, directly? No more waiting for the phone to ring. Just answer that phone. Best Home Services leads are dedicated to making your phone ring with motivated buyers that call you directly. There's no obligation to talk with them. Just go to ContractorSecretWeapon.com/money. Fill out the form to secure your discount on the setup fee. Do it today. This special will not last forever. Check them out at ContractorSecretWeapon.com/money.
Running a small business is no easy task, and I should know because I had a service company for almost 10 years. I am the founder of a software called RadiusBomb, and it's unbelievable. And for all the listeners of Contractor's Secret Weapon, we have a special offer for you to check out. If you want to send hyper-targeted, laser-focused, super personalized postcards to your exact prospects using a map while sitting in your underwear, then go to ContractorSecretWeapon.com/RadiusBomb, and we'll give you your first 100 postcards for free. Just go to ContractorSecretWeapon.com/RadiusBomb.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Contractor's Secret Weapons. This is Dave Negri, your host today, as always, and I have a great guest with us today. Chris Cooper is founder of the largest mentoring practice in the fitness world with clients on every continent. He started his entrepreneurial life as a gym owner. In 2005, Cooper had a new home, wife, baby. His job as personal trainer wouldn't cover the bills, so he opened a business. Or so he thought he did. 3 years in, Cooper realized that he didn't have a business, but he just bought himself a high-risk job with no upside. When he missed a pay period, he hit bottom and realized he needed help. He found a mentor. He paid for the service and check that should have bounced. So over the next 2 years, Cooper was taught how to build a real business. He began mentoring gym owners in 2013 and founded his own practice, Two Brain Businesses. And in 2016, it rapidly grew to become the largest fitness mentorship practice in the world with over 350 gyms participating worldwide. Now, the cool thing about Chris, and I just told you all about him, is that today we talk about retention of customers. You know, that seems to be one of our biggest challenges overall with every business, but it's so much in the fitness industry. And so we can pull some nice golden nuggets from Chris and the way he lays out his business and what he does to help you grow your business. So let's welcome Chris. Chris, I'm just so glad you can be with us today and share your expertise and your knowledge on how you built your business and some of the things you did that will help our business owners. So again, Chris, thanks so much for being with us today.
My pleasure, Dave. Thanks for having me on.
This is going to be cool. I know that you have your own business, and it's called Two Brain Businesses, which is kind of interesting in the onset. So how did you get started in this particular business? And you also have your podcast too, but how did you get started in this business, and what were some of the things that got you to where you are today?
Well, I own several small businesses, mostly in the fitness industry in Northern Ontario, Canada. And so around 2009, my gym, which was my only business back then, was very close to bankrupt. And I kind of had this epiphany that I was a great fitness trainer, but a very poor business owner. I lucked into some mentorship, and that turned my gym around. And as that was happening, I started blogging about the experience because I thought maybe there were some other gym owners out there who could use the same advice. Mm-hmm. And after about 300 blog posts, it's kind of a funny story, but I was invited to speak at a seminar, and I knew one of the other speakers would have this handbook that he would share with the audience. And I said, well, I've got to have a book. So I took the top 12 blog posts from this blog, which was called don'tbuyads.com. And the cheapest way that I could get these things printed so that I could give it out to the audience was to self-publish them into a book. So I self-published, shipped to Florida. We were in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
I didn't have any page numbers or chapter headings or even a table of contents. And 18,000 copies later, that's the best-selling fitness business book of all time.
Wow.
Yeah. And so as people started to buy this book and read it, I started being called for mentorship. And in 2016, I launched twobrainbusiness.com, and we have about 364 clients on every continent. We're a worldwide organization. There are 12 mentors who serve with me. And that's what we do.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Just get and the key was to just get started.
Yeah, exactly. To not worry about perfection, just to worry about executing every day, taking very small, imperfect steps.
Yeah, and I noticed that your success came overnight. 300 blog posts later.
Well, I'm around 1,300 now.
Wow.
The original book, I mean, it was really published for real in 2012.
Okay.
But 2 weeks ago, I was asked, how often do you actually publish blog posts now? And so I asked our editor to go into the twobrainbusiness.com archives and pull out just the blog posts from the last year. And that turned into a book that was 308 pages long.
Wow.
Just without even meaning to. So yeah, we do publish a lot.
That's awesome. But that's one of the keys to get people that actually, get people to you to find out more information, which is
absolutely
the core to your business. So one of the things that I know that you're in the mentorship business, but you're also in the fitness industry, and that has, and it's like most businesses, I think that one of the biggest challenges is retaining clients long term. So what are some of the success stories or some of the things that you've used to just build a platform or a system into making that work the most effective way?
Well, so for some context first, I mean, the fitness industry is one where it is very hard to retain clients. It's not really hard to get people to sign up. I mean, you and I both know what will happen 2 weeks from now, or a week and a half. Everyone is going to have this New Year's resolution. They're all going to want my service.
Right.
So by March 31st, statistically, about 43% of those people will be left. So most people survive in a gym environment for less than 3 months. What we have to do is make sure that we are basically selling a service business instead of a fitness membership. So we start off differently than other people do. We start with a consultative process, which I'm sure many contractors will do.
Sure.
And I'm going to start with a blank slate. What do you want? And then from there, I'm going to narrow the options until the client and I decide that, here's our best course of action, or here is our fitness prescription. So what aids in that, number one, is having like almost a third party data set. So for example, let's say that I put a client on the scale, and we don't do this anymore, but we put them on the scale and we say, Dave, you and I need to beat that scale. Okay, so I place the client and myself on the same side of the desk, and we're facing off against this third object or this data.
Right.
How can we work together, to beat this scale? So the first thing that happens is the mindset of the client that I am their guide, but they remain the hero of the story here. Okay, and so I'm helping them. Then during the first period that we work with a client, whether in a mentorship practice or in the gym, you have to look at the first maybe 3 months as kind of an incubation period. Okay, so in the fitness industry, people are not comfortable with being uncomfortable, and you can't just talk them into that. Like You can't say no pain, no gain, or suck it up or anything like that. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
What we have to do is have more frequent touch points in those initial stages after they've made that initial purchase. So I need to talk to you every 2 to 3 days. at the outside. I need to email you sometimes in between those discussions and just basically reassure you that you've made a good investment. After that, I need to make sure that I have like a clear path to follow up. And then, the most important question I think that we teach is, what do you want now? So in the gym, every 3 months, I want to meet with the client and ask 3 questions. The first is, what are you most proud of achieving in the last 3 months? So I'm framing the conversation by focusing on bright spots. The second is, Dave, since we started, have your overall goals changed and what are they now? And the third is, do you feel as if you're accomplishing your goals quickly enough? So sometimes if they say yes, I do feel good. Like, I think I'm making good progress. We say, that's fantastic. I'd love to brag about you. Can I take your picture and put it on my website?
Wow, okay.
If they say, no, I think I'd like to go a little bit faster, then I can say, Dave, if it were me, here's what I would do, and basically change the prescription. Okay? So there's no upselling ever involved. It's just a common feedback loop of, what do you want now? And here's how I can help.
Wow.
The last big retention piece that I think we're kind of famous for is a strategy called Bright Spots. And I'm sure some of your listeners have heard of Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath, and their new book, The Power of Moments, is phenomenal. If they haven't, though, Chip and Dan are researchers from Harvard University, and they basically study the science of retention. So in a gym setting, what I'm going to do every time you do something for the first time, so let's say that you deadlift 200 pounds and you've never done it before. I'm going to write that on a whiteboard for everyone in the gym to see. And then on Friday, I'm going to call you and say, Dave, we're so proud of you. What are you going to do next? And what we're basically doing here is giving them these peak moments in their life. You and I both know that people don't really remember what you say to them, but they always remember how you made them feel, right?
Absolutely, yes.
And so the key is setting yourself up to evoke these positive feelings as often as you can. And so, we build up an entire plan and strategy around calling the clients, saying we're proud of you, etc.
Yeah, and they this is really cool because you're setting up a whole new paradigm shift for them, as opposed to their what they've been used to in that industry, where just come work out and we'll help you lose weight. You're just taking them and with baby steps and reassuring them and helping them and walking along with them, maybe behind them or to the side of them, so that they're the hero. Like you said, they become the hero of their progress, but you've basically are egging them on in little different ways. But the cool thing is that it's constant communication. And what did I write down here? I said constant communication, and always following up, no matter which way. And I love the way you put that. It's not the upsell, but where do you want to go now? Or what do you want to do now? So it basically takes you out of the selling cycle and creates them into the buying cycle with their own thought process, or the continuation.
Yeah, I haven't heard it put that way, but that makes total sense. Absolutely.
Yeah, so they're comfortable with the whole process because basically what you're doing is you're helping them own it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they feel like it's their choice, right?
Yeah, no pressure at all. Oh, I like what's going on, and I'd like to be just a little bit better. How are we going to do that?
Yeah, so there are a few things there. Number one, I think, is the realization that 10 years ago we could sell information, and information was the salesman's tool. Now it's the buyer's tool. A lot of the times, people who come in my door, they know how to lose weight. They know that they have to cut back on carbs and go for a walk every day.
Yeah.
The problem is that they're not going to do that. Anybody now can go to Home Depot and take a lesson on how to paint their bathroom. So the question is, our real value now is not the ability to paint a bathroom. Our real value now is, we're going to save you a lot of time. We're going to eliminate the stress involved in doing all this stuff. We're going to help you make a better color choice that you're going to love, and that's what we're really selling now. Our service has changed, but our service has become more valuable because of that change.
Yes,
because now, we have to be authorities.
Mm-hmm.
It's not enough just to sell anything anymore. So going into that conversation, that's basically what you're looking at. And so what I'll start most people with is 6 months from now, if everything's going perfect, what changes should we expect to see? And so in their brain, the client is painting this picture for themselves of they've been successful, they're the hero. Then I'm going to say 6 months from now, if you take no action, what do you think will happen? And so now they're painting a separate picture. They're telling a different story in their brain. And then I'll say, I would like to help you become more successful as your guide. Would you be more comfortable having me as a guide one-on-one or guiding you in a small group setting? And what I'm basically doing now is filtering them toward the two service options that we sell. So at this point, they've already purchased in their brain. Now we're just saying, we're filtering basically. Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking notes because this is really awesome stuff.
Yeah, I go through the entire process in my book, Help First, but also I'll have it in the next book, Affinity Marketing, which will be a more updated version too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're just leading them along the path of actually no resistance because they see themselves working a plan. Just now it's, do I want to do it one-on-one or do I want to do it in a group setting?
Yeah. Yeah, and as soon as I learned that, I learned a lot more about, how I should set up this meeting with the client. Mm-hmm. I mean, one of my favorite stories about meeting with a client was she came into the gym and she was carrying her little 1-year-old. And 1-year-olds, they're very squirmy. They don't want to sit still.
Yeah.
But outside the gym was a kid selling lemonade. And so we went outside and I carried 2 chairs and we sat outside and had a lemonade, and, her baby had a lemonade, and we talked about, where she wanted to be in a year. And that just kind of helped her paint that picture in her mind of what her perfect day was. And perfect day is a concept that we teach everyone. I mean, you should ask your staff what their perfect day is. You should ask your wife what her perfect day is, so that you're all working toward the same goal. But if you get your client to paint that picture in their mind early, and then you suggest that they can achieve that, they can ride off into that sunset, and you're going to be their guide, then that follows the same basic story flow of every epic adventure that Walt Disney produces, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've heard of the hero's journey before. In case your listeners haven't, it's basically every Disney movie, every heroic epic, almost every religious story follows the exact same plot line. And so, we're taught from an early age that here is how you achieve greatness. Here's how you become a hero. And so it's just innate that if we say you can be that hero, we can be your guide, people really latch onto that idea.
Yeah, I love that because it's taking, I don't know, it's just a whole another concept that most people don't think about. It's like it's like you saying, well, it's not your fault. We're going to help you become the hero.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's what has really helped us. And in the mentoring practice too, every day, basically, I send people a story that's about 800 words long. I tell them about something that I've screwed up, and that's why I'm in a good position to be their guide as they go through the same thing, right?
Yeah, learn from my mistakes, not your own.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I learn. I want to learn from other people's mistakes because I don't want to make them all.
Yeah, too expensive, right?
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, especially. But that's part of the growth process is making the mistakes and not being afraid to make them. Just I've always, one of my pet things is let's just do it, and if we make a mistake, great. Let's learn from it and move on to the next thing as fast as we can because failure is part of success.
Exactly. It's a critical part of success.
It is.
Yeah. The keynote, though, I think, though, Dave, is what you just said, is that it doesn't have to be your own failure, right? If
Right.
somebody else can learn from our failures, that's incredibly valuable.
Sure. It makes it a lot easier, and boom, I can, okay, he did this, and so I'm not going to do that exact same thing. So
Exactly.
and I'm going to treat people this way, or I'm going to talk to people this way, especially if you're going through a process like your retention program where you start off at A and you end up at Z. And, that's a big, long process that you've gone through and that you documented and systematized, and you know that if you say this, this is going to happen, and when you say this or do this, that this is going to happen. And so you're cutting, by doing that, you're cutting not only your people you're mentoring, their thing down tremendously, and you're increasing their success exponentially. But there again, on the people that come into your business, you're just, you can hold fast and true to the stuff that you're doing because you're creating great results for your clients on all facets.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool. I need more paper. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, and I know that you said, you don't particularly like sales funnels. Why is that?
Right. Well, I think that it starts from the wrong end. A sales funnel is like when you're trying to meet a woman that you're going to marry. Okay, like are you going to first sit down and think, who do I like? What traits do I want? Who shares the same value system? What do I consider attractive? Or do you say, I'm going to date 500 women and then pick the best 300 and date them again, and then I'm going to pick the best 100 of those and date them? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It makes good TV, but it doesn't make sense. So what we do is we invert the funnel. And we say, let's start with the people who are most likely to actually want to buy from you and are also able to afford your service. So we start with what we call seed clients. Okay. Mike Michalowicz wrote this amazing book called The Pumpkin Plan. And we've taken his method of identifying who your best clients actually are. And we apply that to other businesses too. So first we say, my best client is Dave, because Dave makes me happy every time he comes into this gym, and he always pays on time, and he buys my most expensive service. So the first question I'm going to ask myself is, how can I serve Dave better? Right? So if I'm a contractor and I'm redoing your kitchen, and I say, Dave, this kitchen is really starting to look fantastic. You're going to be able to host more dinner parties here. Is that your goal? And you say, yeah, we love having guests over. I could say, that's great. The most popular place in your house, or the most important place when you're having guests over, is your kitchen. The second most important place when you're having guests over is your bathroom. Nobody talks about a bathroom unless it's bad. What are your plans to renovate your bathroom, right? So we would start there. And I think the philosophy of help first is really important, because most entrepreneurs are not good salespeople. Right. So if they think about this as an upsell, they're not going to do it, or they're going to stammer and they're going to blow it. You have to think about, like, how can I help Dave best? So if I know your goal is to have more and better dinner parties, then I'm helping you by suggesting that you think about doing your bathroom next. Then I'm going to say, who are the people that Dave influences? So you can picture a bullseye where you, the ideal client, are in the center, and I'm going to radiate out ring by ring, okay? And we call these affinity loops. So the first ring are the people you influence most. They're the people you live with. They're your family, okay? So I'm going to say, Dave, who visits your house the most? My kids do. When they come home, fantastic. And when they come home for Christmas, do they bring their kids? Yes. Do they live nearby? Yes. How can I help them have a better house? Okay. Then I would radiate out to the next affinity loop, which are usually your coworkers. Is there anyone in your office who's looking to get a home makeover done before Easter because my schedule is filling up quickly. In the fitness industry, I would say, is there anyone in your office who's trying to lose weight by Easter? Or I would say, I know this is a tough month in your tax office because everybody's rushing to get their tax filings done. How would you feel about bringing all the bookkeepers and accountants in on Friday night, and we'll have a fun little party in the gym? You can bring some wine if you want to, and I'll just give you some fun little team building challenges. It's actually easy because most gyms are just big playgrounds.
Right. Yeah.
And then the fourth loop is people with whom you recreate. So, who do you golf with? Who do you play midnight basketball with? It could also be who do you go to church with? I mean, you have such a strong bond there.
Sure.
And it's a very trusting bond. And then from there, we would say, okay, those are your personal connections. Who is almost a personal connection? So the fourth affinity loop are people who are paying attention but not paying you money yet. And that's usually people who have given you their email address or they've given you permission to talk more to them. Okay. And then the next affinity loop would be people who are slightly paying attention. They're already aware of you. So they've clicked like on your Facebook page, or they follow you on Instagram or something like that. And then the last loop would be cold leads, people who know nothing about you. They don't even know that they need your service. They're not looking for you. They're not comparing you against anybody else yet. So if I'm a chiropractor, this would be someone who has back pain, but they don't know that there's any way to get relief. Or they just think, well, I'm 50 and everybody gets back pain when they're 50.
Yeah.
So they're completely oblivious. They're not looking for a solution to their problem. But this is where most funnel marketing starts, is with that person. And they try to dump, 1,000 of those people into a funnel and then filter out. Oh, yeah, no, that guy, he's too old. That guy doesn't make enough money. That guy lives too far away. Until finally you get down to these like kind of ideal clients who, by the way, still really don't know anything about you. You don't have a personal connection with them. I mean, you might as well just drop flyers from a helicopter onto the roof of their car and hope one of them calls you.
Yeah.
So there is a time and a place for online marketing. We do teach Facebook marketing. We have a huge course for that, but it's really maybe step 8. I think there's much lower hanging fruit.
Yeah, no, and the process you went through is so much smarter and simpler because you're going through, the old thing of who do I know, who do I like, and who's around me that could benefit, that would, and it makes it easier for you as the business owner or whoever the business owner, because it's a referral in a sense. And
yeah.
And it makes so much more sense, and it's easier to get referral business. And I think one of the biggest challenges about that is that referral business is awesome, but no one has figured out how to do it on a systematic basis, where basically everyone treats referral business as gravy, and so that's why they go after the other stuff to fill in. But somebody should come out with a plan to do to really work that referral business and have that be one of the best part of their system, whether it be referral marketing, referral rewards, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, so we teach that, and we call that sales. Mm-hmm. And marketing would kind of be at the tail end of that, but we teach that and we call it affinity marketing. And I'll have a book called Affinity Marketing by May.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
This has really been awesome. Some awesome I got a whole sheet of notes.
Oh, that's great.
But there's a lot of great content there, just to, making them feel like the hero and being their guide and not really selling them anything, but just ask them where they are so that they can pick and then choose the points that they want to move to, because you've helped them move along those lines as being their guide, or that's the perfect way to put it, is the way you put it, being their guide. We're going to help you get to where you want to go.
Yeah, I think it's really tempting. And, this is old school marketing. Dave, you and I are both over 35. Yeah. So I'm a ways over 35.
Me too.
But back then, I mean, you tried to make your brand a hero. You talked about what you could do and how amazing your company was and how long you'd been in business.
Right.
But that's not the way our brains are wired.
No.
Our brains are all wired to think that we're the hero. And so if you can show your client how they will get to be the hero and you will be their guide, you know, the genie in Aladdin or Yoda to Luke, that's going to fit their mindset a lot more.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This has really been awesome content, and I got a ton out of it. I know everyone else will. So how can our listeners get in touch with you, Chris?
twobrainbusiness.com is our website. People can actually book a free 30-minute call with me through there. On Amazon, on barnesandnoble.com. If you look for Chris Cooper, you'll find my books.
Okay.
And that's probably the easiest way.
Cool. Well, we will definitely put all that into the show notes so that everyone will have an opportunity to connect with you. Hey, wow, that was a really great interview, great talk with Chris Cooper about retention of long-term clients. And here's just a couple of takeaways that I took away, and I wrote notes. And I'll just take this real quick, real clean for you. And but here's the key: constant communication. And he had a path to following up. And he always asks the client, where do you want to go now? What do you want to do now? How can I help? These are just some great key takeaways to help you build and go through this again, because there's some awesome nuggets here on how Chris builds his business and helps others. And I love some of the stuff. It's customer driven. It's not sales driven. So to your success, continue learning more, being better in all that you do, so you can have the dream lifestyle, the dream business you wanted to have, the lifestyle you wanted to create. So until the next time, have a great week. Again, I want to thank you for joining us and investing your time with us today. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and if you did, go to iTunes and give us a shout out. You can also go to our website, www.contractorsecretweapon.com, and check out today's episode and leave us a comment in the bottom of the page. And if you haven't gotten your 15 secret weapon strategies to getting higher-end customers, get it while you're at the website. Also, I want to thank again our sponsors for keeping this podcast alive for your profit-making pleasure. And so go be profitable this week. Work smarter, not harder, and learn how to leverage your time and your knowledge so that you can be more profitable. Again, see you next week.
Thanks for joining us for another weekly episode of the Contractor's Secret Weapon podcast with Dave Negri. We would love to hear your comments about this episode, so visit us online at www.contractorsecretweapon.com and let us hear your thoughts. If you are listening via iTunes, please leave us a positive review. The more positive reviews we receive, the more other contractors will benefit from this show. Thank you, and see you next time here on the Contractor's Secret Weapon Podcast.